A poor girl in a wheelchair asks the young billionaire, "May I have the crumbs, sir?" But when the young billionaire saw her tears, a miracle happened. Noah Vance pushed open the glass door of the bakery with his shoulder, balancing his phone between his ear and neck as he spoke to someone on the other end. Numbers. Always numbers. Stocks that soared, contracts that needed reviewing, meetings that couldn't be postponed. Yes, I know it's only $2 million, but... He stopped mid-sentence, annoyed by the bad connection. "Can you hear me? Look, and I'll call you back." He put his phone in the pocket of his expensive coat and adjusted the paper bag holding his daily breakfast. A French croissant, a double espresso, and a financial newspaper. The same routine for 3 years. Efficient, predictable. No surprises. It was October, and the crisp London air bit at anyone brave enough to venture out early. Noah liked this hour. Few people. Less noise, less people. At 28, he had learned that unnecessary interactions only delayed his plans. He walked along the sidewalk towards his black Bentley, parked a few feet away. Another day at the office. Another series of decisions that would move millions. Another night alone in his penthouse apartment, looking out at the city through massive windows. That's when he saw her, sitting in an old, rusty wheelchair, propped against the brick wall next to the bakery. A small girl, no older than 5. Her brown hair was disheveled and dirty. Her clothes seemed too big and were faded with time, and a thin, torn blanket covered her legs. Her skin had the pallor of someone who hadn't eaten properly in a long time. Noah recognized her. She had been there for months, always in the same spot, always with the same blanket, always asking for something from the hurried passers-by. He slowed his pace but didn't stop. It wasn't his problem. London was full of people asking for money, and he had learned to ignore them. Business was business. Feelings were complications. "Sir?" The voice was soft, timid. Noah kept walking, pretending he hadn't heard. "Sir, please." This time, he looked. The girl was looking directly at him, with big, dark eyes. There was no desperation there, no aggression, just hope. "May I have the crumbs, sir?" Noah stopped. Not because he wanted to, but because something in her tone made him. She wasn't asking for money. She wasn't asking for food. She was asking for crumbs, crumbs. He looked at the paper bag in his hands. Inside was a croissant that cost more than many people spent on lunch, and she wanted the crumbs. "I don't have crumbs," Noah replied, his voice coming out harsher than he intended. The girl lowered her head, as if she expected that answer, as if she had heard it hundreds of times in recent months. "It's okay, sir. Sorry to bother you." Noah should have moved on. That's what he had done every day for months. Passed her by, ignored her pleas, got into his car. That's what worked. It was simple, uncomplicated. But when she turned her face away, trying to hide, he saw it. A tear, small, silent, tracing a path down her dirty cheek. She made no sound. She didn't cry aloud. She just let the tear fall, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. And Noah stood there in the middle of the sidewalk, holding a paper bag and feeling something strange in his chest, something he hadn't felt in a long time. "Wait," he said, walking back to her. The girl looked up, surprised. Noah opened the bag and took out the croissant. It was still warm, smelling of butter and yeast. He held it out to her. "They're not crumbs, but it's food." The girl's eyes widened. "For me? Really? For you?" She took the croissant with both small hands, as if it were something precious. "Thank you, sir, thank you very much." Noah nodded and turned away, but couldn't take more than 2 steps. "Say, sir." He turned around. Are you leaving now?" The question was simple, but something in the way she asked it made Noah stop again. There was fear there, not fear of him, but fear of being left alone. "Where are your parents?" Noah asked, though he already suspected the answer. "I don't have any." "Grandparents? Aunts or uncles?" She shook her head. "Just me." Noah looked around. The street was empty, save for a few passing cars. The bakery hadn't fully opened yet, and the cold was growing more intense. "How long have you been here?" "A few months, sir." A few months. Noah felt a strange weight in his stomach. Months. She had been there for months, and he had walked past her every day, completely ignoring her existence. "What's your name?" "Lena." "Lena." He repeated the name, as if testing the sound. "I'm Noah." She smiled for the first time, a small but genuine smile. "Hi, Noah." And it was at that moment that Noah Vance, the billionaire who made million-dollar decisions without blinking, who had spent months ignoring this girl, who never let himself be swayed by emotions, did something completely irrational. He opened the paper bag again and took out the rest of the food he had bought. The coffee was still warm. There was another croissant he'd bought without thinking. "Here," he said, holding it all out to her. "It's all I have here. Do you want to come with me?" The words came out before he could think, before he could analyze the risks, the complications, the consequences. Lena blinked, confused. "Where?" "To my home. You can take a hot bath, eat a proper meal. You don't know me. You don't know me either." She was quiet for a moment, biting her lower lip. Then, slowly, she nodded. "Can I bring my chair?" Noah looked at the old wheelchair. One of the wheels was crooked and the seat was worn, but it was hers, it was all she had. So of course, he helped push the chair to his car. The chauffeur, who was waiting in the front seat, looked in the rearview mirror with a confused expression, but said nothing. Noah had learned to hire people who didn't ask questions. During the drive to the apartment, Lena remained quiet, looking out the window. She was still holding the croissant, but hadn't eaten it. Noah realized she was saving it for later, as if she didn't know when her next meal would be. "You can eat it," he said. "There's more food at home." She looked at him, doubtful. "Really? Really?" Lena took a small, cautious bite, then another. Soon she was eating with gusto, licking her fingers so as not to waste a single crumb. Crumbs. The word returned to Noah's mind. She had asked for crumbs, and he was taking her to an apartment that cost more than most people earned in a lifetime. When they arrived at the building, Noah helped Lena out of the car and into her chair. The doorman greeted him as usual, but his eyes darted to the girl with curiosity. "Good morning, Mr. Vance." "Good morning, Gerald." In the elevator, Lena was impressed by the golden buttons and the mirror on the walls. "Do you live in the sky?" Noah almost smiled. "On the top floor." "Just like the sky, then." This time, he genuinely smiled. The apartment was exactly what you'd expect from a young billionaire, modern, minimalist, with a panoramic view of London. Expensive furniture, contemporary art on the walls, and a kitchen that looked like it came from a magazine. Lena stood in the entrance, awestruck. "Do you live here alone?" "Yes. It's very big." "It is." She rolled her chair through the living room, touching the furniture carefully, as if afraid of breaking something. "Can I sit on the couch?" "You can sit wherever you like." Noah watched her explore the apartment and felt something strange. The place had never seemed so empty. It was as if her presence made the walls seem more distant, the rooms emptier. "You must be hungry," he said. "I'll order food." "I can eat anything," Lena replied quickly. "It doesn't have to be expensive." The phrase hit him in an unexpected way. When was the last time someone worried about what he spent? Noah ordered Chinese food from an expensive restaurant in the neighborhood. While they waited, he showed Lena where the bathroom was, gave her a clean towel, and found an old t-shirt that would serve as a nightgown for her. "You can take as long a bath as you want," he said. "The hot water doesn't run out." Lena looked at him as if he had spoken a foreign language. "Hot water that doesn't run out." "Yes, you can stay as long as you like." She disappeared into the bathroom, and Noah was left alone in the living room. He looked at his phone. He had dozens of missed calls, urgent messages, emails that needed immediate replies, but for the first time in years, he didn't care. The sound of running water in the bathroom was strange. Noah wasn't used to having other people in the apartment. He didn't bring women home, didn't receive visitors. His world was the office and that silent space. When the food arrived, Lena was still in the bath. Noah arranged everything on the kitchen table. General Tissot's chicken, fried rice, spring rolls, and hot soup. Enough food for 4 people. Lena appeared 20 minutes later. the oversized t-shirt covering her knees and her wet hair plastered to her face. She looked even smaller like this, lost in the adult clothing. "Yes, it smells good," she said, approaching the table. "You can eat all you want." She served herself slowly, taking small portions of each dish. Noah noticed she ate like someone who wasn't sure when their next meal would be, small bites, chewing thoroughly, taking her time. And they ate in silence. Lena asked no questions, asked for nothing, complained about nothing. She just ate, thanked him with a smile, and helped clear the plates. "Can I wash the dishes?" she asked. "You don't have to. I want to help." Noah watched her try to reach the sink from her wheelchair. It was impossible. He gently took the plates from her hands. "You don't need to help. You're a guest." "A guest?" "Yes, a guest." Lena smiled. "I've never been anyone's guest before." The phrase hung in the air between them. Noah finished washing the dishes, and when he turned around, he saw Lena had settled on the couch, but was struggling to keep her eyes open. "You're sleepy." "A little bit." "You can sleep." "Where?" The question caught him off guard. "Where?" He had an apartment with 2 bedrooms, but the second one was used as an office, full of papers, computers, work stuff. "On the couch. It's comfortable." "Can I really?" "You can." Noah brought pillows and a blanket. He helped Lena get comfortable on the couch, covering her carefully. She curled up under the blanket, looking even smaller. "Noah?" "Yes, thank you." "For what?" "For not leaving." The phrase hit him in the chest. Noah stood there by the couch, looking at this girl who had appeared out of nowhere and turned his day upside down. "Sleep well, Lena." "You too." Noah turned off the lights and went to his bedroom, but he couldn't sleep. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds from the living room. Lena moved occasionally, mumbled something in her sleep, and for the first time in a long time, Noah Vance didn't feel alone. But there was something else, something that bothered him. It wasn't Lena's presence, it was what she awakened in him. A strange sensation in his chest, as if something that had been dormant for years had awakened. He got up and went to the window. Down below, the city continued its routine. Cars passing, people walking, life going on as normal. But here, in this apartment, something had changed. Noah looked towards the living room, where Lena was sleeping. She had asked for crumbs, and he had given her bread. She had asked not to be alone, and he had taken her home. And now he was feeling something he hadn't felt in a long time. Something he had buried along with childhood memories, along with disappointments, along with the decision that it was easier not to care about anyone. For the first time in a long time, Noah Vance was feeling empathy for someone, and that scared him more than any financial loss, more than any failed contract, more than anything he had faced in the business world, because feeling empathy meant caring, and caring meant he had something to lose. Noah woke up earlier than usual, not because of his alarm, but because of a strange noise coming from the living room, a sound he had never heard before in his apartment. Someone stirring. Lena. For a moment, he had completely forgotten. He had forgotten that he wasn't alone anymore, that there was a child sleeping on the living room couch, that his life had completely changed in a matter of hours. He got up and went to the kitchen, trying not to make noise. Through the opening to the living room, he could see Lena still wrapped in the blanket, but awake. She was looking around with wide eyes, as if trying to understand where she was. "Good morning," Noah said, appearing in the doorway. Lena startled, but then smiled. "Good morning, Uncle Noah." "Uncle." The word sounded strange, but somehow right. "Did you sleep well?" "Yes, sir. Very well." She sat up on the couch, arranging the blanket around her legs. "Sorry if I woke you up." "You didn't wake me. I always wake up early." Noah went to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. He opened the refrigerator and looked inside, frowning. There was expensive bottled water, white wine, some imported cheeses, olives, and leftover Chinese food from yesterday. Nothing suitable for a child for breakfast. He opened the cabinets. Coffee beans, fancy biscuits, organic honey, expensive fruit jam he'd never tried. All very adult, very inappropriate for a 5-year-old girl. "Oh, are you hungry?" he asked, returning to the living room. "A little bit," Lena replied, but Noah noticed she was being polite. From the way she looked towards the kitchen, it was obvious she was very hungry. I'll see what's here." Noah went back to the kitchen, continuing to rummage through the cabinets as if they would solve his problem. What on earth did a child eat for breakfast? He had no idea. His own routine consisted of black coffee and something he bought at the bakery. That's when he saw it. At the back of the cabinet, almost hidden behind a can of olive oil, was a box of powdered milk. He had no idea where it came from. Probably someone from the cleaning staff had left it there. Milk. Suddenly, a memory surfaced out of nowhere. Himself, very small, sitting in the kitchen of the house where he grew up. His mother, still young, warming milk in a small saucepan. She hummed softly as she stirred the milk, and when it was ready, she served it in a mug with a piece of bread. "To warm your heart," she always said. "Warm milk warms the heart." Noah shook his head, trying to push the memory away. He hadn't thought about it in years, but he looked at Lena, who was quietly waiting patiently on the couch, and something inside him stirred. He took the box of powdered milk and a small saucepan. "Lena, do you like warm milk?" "I like milk," she replied. "But I haven't had it in a long time." Noah poured water into the saucepan and put it on the stove. While he waited for it to heat up, he found bread in the refrigerator. Plain bread, not the expensive croissants he usually bought. Simple bread, which had probably been there for days, but it would do. He mixed the powdered milk into the hot water, stirring slowly. The smell rose to him, and suddenly he wasn't in the penthouse kitchen anymore. He was in the small kitchen of his childhood home, watching his mother do the exact same thing. "It smells good," Lena said, appearing at the kitchen doorway. She had managed to get off the couch and roll her wheelchair over. "Almost ready." Noah poured the milk into a large mug and cut 2 pieces of bread for Lena. There was no butter, so he left it plain. He put everything on a tray and took it to the living room table. "Come here," he said, helping Lena approach the table. She looked at the mug with curiosity. Can I really drink it?" "Of course." Lena took the mug with both small hands. As if it was something precious, she blew on the milk slowly and took a small sip. "It's warm, Uncle." And she smiled, a big, genuine smile that lit up her whole face. Noah felt something strange in his chest. A good, warm feeling, as if something that had been frozen for a long time was melting. For the first time in years, he was thinking about his own childhood without bitterness. He was remembering the warm milk his mother used to make, the feeling of being cared for, of being home. He was remembering without shame. In fact, he was remembering with longing. "Is it good?" he asked. "Very, thank you, Uncle Noah." Lena drank her warm milk and ate the bread slowly, savoring each sip, each bite. Noah just watched, feeling a peace he hadn't experienced in a long time. When she finished, she looked at Noah with bright eyes. Thank you for breakfast." "You're welcome." Noah looked around the empty kitchen, realizing he needed proper groceries. "Lena, do you want to come to the supermarket with me?" "Shopping?" "Yes, I need to buy food." "Can I go with you?" "Of course you can." An hour later, they were at the supermarket. Noah pushed a cart, while Lena accompanied him in her wheelchair, looking around with wide eyes. "It's very big," she said, impressed. "It's a regular supermarket." "I've never been inside a supermarket." Noah stopped pushing the cart. "Never?" "No. I always stayed outside waiting." The phrase hit Noah like a punch to the stomach. A child who had never been inside a supermarket. A child who waited outside. "Well," he said, trying to keep his voice steady, "today you get to choose whatever you want." "I can choose." "You can choose whatever you want." Lena looked at him as if he had spoken a foreign language. "Really? Anything?" "Anything." They started in the fruit section. Lena stopped in front of the apples, touching one with her fingertip. "Can I have an apple?" "You can have as many as you want." "As many as I want." Noah nodded. Lena took a red apple, then another. She looked at Noah, as if asking for permission. "You can take more," he said. She took 2 more, then looked at the bananas. "What about bananas?" "Those 2. And oranges." "Those 2. With each fruit she put in the cart, Lena became more excited. Noah had never seen anyone so happy about such simple things. Her joy was contagious, pure, unfiltered. In the cereal aisle, she stopped in front of the colorful boxes, awestruck. "Aunt, there are so many kinds. Which one do you want? Can I choose?" "You can." Lena stood there for 5 minutes, looking at each box, reading the names, comparing the pictures. Finally, she chose a box with a tiger drawing. "This one looks cool. Then take that one." "What if I don't like it?" "Then you'll choose another one next time." "Next time?" "Of course. We'll have to buy food again." The concept of next time seemed new to her, as if she had never thought there could be a next time. Biscuits were quite a discovery. Lena spent almost 10 minutes choosing between different types, flavors, shapes. Noah stood there patiently, watching her deliberate between chocolate chip cookies and honey biscuits. "Can I take both?" "You can take both. And these too." She pointed to some colorful cookies. "You can take them. Really, really." With each choice, Lena seemed to discover something new about herself, that she liked round biscuits more than square ones, that she preferred colorful packaging, that she wanted to try different flavors. When they reached the juice section, Lena was radiant. She had chosen fruits and cereals, biscuits, yogurt, and now she was faced with dozens of juice options. "I never got to choose what I wanted to eat," she said softly, looking at the juices with reverence. The phrase hit Noah harder than he expected. I never got to choose. Something so simple, so basic, and she had never had that freedom. "Now you can," he said. "You can choose everything you want. Everything. Everything." Lena chose apple juice, orange juice, grape juice. She chose as if she were making the most important decisions of her life. And perhaps, for her, that's exactly what they were. She picked up each juice box as if it were a treasure, reading the flavors, comparing the brands. Noah watched, fascinated by her seriousness, by the care she took with each choice. "This one is strawberry," she said, showing him a pink box. "Can I take it?" "You can." "And this peach one?" "That too." "Wow, there are so many flavors. You can take as many as you want." When they finished, the cart was full. Fruits, cereals, biscuits, juices, milk, bread, butter, jam, yogurt, colorful, varied, joyful food. In the checkout line, Noah watched Lena look at everything they had bought with an expression of admiration. "Thank you, Uncle Noah." "For what?" "For letting me choose. It's normal to choose what you want to eat." "For you, maybe. For me, no." Noah remained silent, processing that. For him, it was normal. More than normal. It was automatic. He walked into a place, bought what he wanted, left. He had never thought of it as a privilege, but for Lena, being able to choose was extraordinary. It was dignity, it was respect. It was the difference between being treated as a burden and being treated as a person. "You'll always be able to choose," he said, "whenever you want." Lena smiled, and Noah noticed something different in that smile. It wasn't just happiness. It was hope. On the way back home, Noah drove in silence while Lena looked out the window, still holding an apple she had insisted on eating in the car. "Uncle Noah?" "Yes?" "Why are you being so nice to me?" The question caught him off guard. Why indeed? He didn't have a clear answer. There was no logical reason, no rational explanation. "I don't know," he answered honestly. "So maybe because everyone deserves to choose, even children like me, especially children like you." Lena nodded, as if that made perfect sense. For her, it probably did. When they got home, Noah helped put away the groceries. Lena insisted on helping, organizing the biscuits in the cupboard, putting the fruits in a bowl, arranging the juices in the refrigerator. "Now it looks like a family home," she said, looking at the kitchen. Family home. Noah looked around and realized she was right. There was color on the shelves, variety in the refrigerator, options. It no longer looked like the apartment of a single man who ate only out of necessity. It looked like a place where a child could grow up. Uncle Noah. Yes? Can I have warm milk again tomorrow? You can have warm milk every day if you want. Every day. Every day. Lena smiled. That smile that was becoming familiar. That was becoming one of Noah's favorite things. Thank you for teaching me that choosing is normal. Choosing is normal, he repeated. So you don't have to thank me for that. But as he said it, Noah realized that something had changed in him too. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about work, about business, about numbers. He was thinking about how good it felt to see someone happy because of something as simple as choosing their own breakfast. He was discovering that giving choices to someone who had never had choices was one of the most gratifying things he had ever done. And that surprised him more than anything. 3 days had passed since Lena arrived at Noah's apartment, and a strange routine was forming between them. It wasn't a planned or thought-out routine. It simply happened, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Noah woke up early, as he always did, but now he was no longer the first sound in the apartment. Lena was often already awake, quiet on the couch, looking out the window or fiddling with the colored pencils he had bought the day before. She never woke him, never asked for anything. She just waited patiently until he appeared in the living room. "Good morning, Uncle Noah," she always said, with that smile that was becoming his favorite part of the day. "Good morning, Lena. Did you sleep well?" "Yes, I did. And you?" It was a simple, repetitive conversation, but it had become important to both of them. A ritual that marked the beginning of another day together. Noah prepared warm milk for her, always in the same mug, always with the same amount of sugar she liked. Lena drank it holding the mug with both hands, always saying, "It's warm, Uncle," with the same genuine smile. During the day, Noah tried to work on his laptop at the living room table, answering emails, making calls, keeping his businesses running, but his attention was divided. Part of him was always watching Lena, making sure she was okay, that she didn't need anything. She spent her hours drawing or looking out the window, commenting on the passing cars, the people on the street, the birds that appeared on the windowsill. She never complained of being bored, never asked for entertainment. It was as if she were used to spending long periods doing nothing, and that bothered Noah more than any tantrum or complaint could. On the third night, he decided they needed to have a real conversation. Not the polite good mornings and the thank yous they exchanged. A real conversation about important things. He prepared a nice dinner, rice, beans, grilled chicken with seasonings he found in the pantry, fresh salad they bought at the market. Nothing too elaborate, but made with care, with the intention of creating a special moment. Lena ate slowly, as always, savoring each bite as if it were her last. Noah watched her and wondered if this extreme care with food was a result of months of hunger on the street. "Lena," he said, placing his fork on the plate. "Yes, Uncle Noah. Do you feel comfortable talking to me? About important things?" She stopped chewing and looked at him with curiosity. "What kind of important things?" "About you. About how you got here. About your life before." Lena was quiet for a moment, as if weighing whether or not to speak. Then, slowly, she put her fork on the plate and looked directly at him. "Do you really want to know, or are you asking because you think you should?" The maturity of the question surprised him. "I really want to know." "Why?" Because I care about you. And I think understanding your story will help me take better care of you." Lena nodded as if the answer made sense to her. "My mum died a few months ago." The words came out simple, direct, without drama, as if she were talking about the weather or what was for dinner. Noah felt a tightening in his chest. How did she die? "She was sick, coughed a lot, always had a fever. She said it was just a cold that wouldn't go away, but I think she knew it was worse." "Did you go to the doctor?" "We didn't have money for a doctor. She bought medicine from the pharmacy, but it didn't help much." Noah closed his eyes for a moment. A woman dying from lack of medical treatment, leaving a small disabled daughter alone in the world. "And after she died, the man who lived with us said he wouldn't take care of me." "Your father?" Lena shook her head. "He wasn't my father. He was just a man who lived there. He and Mom fought a lot." "Did he treat you well?" "He didn't hit me, if that's what you want to know, but he didn't like me." He said I was too much trouble because of the chair. That Mom spent too much money on me. Noah stopped eating completely. What kind of things did he say? He called Mom stupid for having a crippled daughter, said I'd be a dead weight forever, that no one would ever want to take care of a child in a wheelchair. The word crippled came out of her mouth with a frightening naturalness, as if it was something she heard often, as if it was simply a fact about herself. When Mom died, Lena continued, picking up another piece of chicken, he said he wasn't obligated to keep me, that I wasn't his problem. And then, he took me to the bakery one morning and told me to wait there, that he'd come back for me after he sorted some things out. Noah dropped his fork. He abandoned you. I waited for him to come back the first day. The second day, too. On the third, I started to understand he wasn't coming back. And you stayed there for months. Where else was I supposed to go? I didn't know anyone. I didn't know where to go. Why didn't you go to the police? Or social services? Lena shrugged. The man always said if I went to social services, they'd put me in a horrible place with a bunch of mean kids, that no one would want to adopt a crippled girl, so I'd stay in an orphanage until I grew up. He was lying to scare you. I know that now. But back then, I was little and scared, and after you spend some time on the street, you learn that not everyone who offers to help wants what's best for you. The simplicity with which she recounted all this was heartbreaking. As if it were normal, as if every child went through this, as if abandonment and rejection were just part of life. Noah felt something he had never felt before, a cold, deep anger, directed at people he didn't even know. The man who had abandoned Lena, the system that allowed a child to remain on the street for months, the pure and simple injustice of it all. But more than anger, he felt something different, something that both scared and calmed him. He cared, truly. It wasn't pity or abstract compassion, it was personal, intimate, as if her pain was his too, as if protecting her was his responsibility, not out of obligation, but by choice. For the first time in his adult life, Noah Vance genuinely cared about someone other than himself. Lena, he said, his voice hoarser than he intended, you know you're not going back to the street, right? I know you're being very nice to me, but you don't have to take care of me forever. It's not about obligation. Then what is it about? Noah paused. What was it about? He didn't know how to explain it. He didn't fully understand it himself, how to explain that in a few days she had become the most important thing in his life. It's about you deserving to be cared for, deserving to have a home, food, someone who worries about you. Even if I'm crippled. Don't say that. The sharpness in Noah's voice surprised her. You're not crippled. You use a wheelchair. It's different. The man said that. The man was wrong, completely wrong. You are smart, affectionate, brave. You survived months alone on the street. That's not what someone who gives trouble does. That's what someone very strong does. Lena looked at him for a long moment, as if assessing whether he was serious or just being polite. Uncle Noah? Yes? Thank you for not sending me away. The phrase hit Noah like a punch to the stomach. Thank you for not sending me away. As if not being abandoned was a favor, not a basic right. As if she was still waiting for him to get tired of her and decide she was too much trouble. You'll never need to thank me for that, he said, his voice firm. Never. This is your home now. My home. Your home. Lena smiled, but Noah noticed she still didn't completely believe him. And he understood it would take time for her to trust that she wouldn't be abandoned again. They finished dinner in silence, but it was a different silence than before. More laden, more intimate, as if something important had been said and understood. After dinner, while washing the dishes, Noah had an idea. Lena, do you like to draw? I draw a little, but I've never had real colored pencils. Do you want some? Her eyes widened. Colored pencils. And sketchbooks too, for you to draw whatever you want. Really? Can it be anything? It can be anything. Can I draw you? The question caught him off guard. Of course. Why not? Because sometimes people don't like to be in drawings. I would love to be in your drawings. Lena smiled, that smile that was becoming addictive for Noah. The next day, they went to a large stationery store in the city center. Lena was enchanted by the variety of options. 12 color pencil sets, 24, 48, even some 72 color sets that looked like a treasure chest. Notebooks with colorful covers, plain pages, lined pages, special drawing paper, markers, crayons, colored pastels. "Can I choose?" she asked, already knowing the answer but still needing confirmation. "You can choose whatever you want." She spent almost an hour in the store, touching each product, comparing colors, testing the paper texture. Noah watched her deliberate between the options with the same seriousness he would use to choose multi-million-dollar investments. Finally, she chose a case with 48 colored pencils, 3 different notebooks, one for drawings, one for writing, one for special things, an eraser, a sharpener, colored markers, and a small pouch to hold everything. "Thank you, Uncle Noah," she said when they got home, hugging the supplies as if they were treasures. "What's the point of having them if you don't use them?" Lena settled at the living room table and immediately started drawing. First, she drew the house where she lived with her mother. A small house with square windows, a blue door, and flowers in the window that Noah suspected never existed, but that she wished had. Then, she drew the bakery where she used to ask for food. The drawing was detailed for a 5-year-old. She remembered the color of the red door, the shape of the windows, even the crooked sign that said, "Miller's Bakery." "This is where I used to stay," she explained, showing the drawing to Noah. "And this is you." She pointed to a tall figure next to the bakery. He was depicted as a tall stick figure, wearing what looked like a dark suit, carrying a bag. Next to him, a small figure in a blue wheelchair. "This was the day you gave me the bread," she continued. "I remember you had a kind of grumpy face, but then you became nice." Noah looked at the drawing. It was simple, made with childlike strokes, but it captured something important. The moment their lives intersected. "It's very good. You draw well." "Do you really think so?" "I do. You have talent." Lena smiled and went back to drawing. Noah stood there watching her work and felt something strange. Pride, perhaps, as if her drawings were important. As if she was important, which she was important. The most important thing that had ever happened in his life. Lena spent the entire afternoon drawing. She drew a picture of the apartment kitchen, with her and Noah having breakfast. She drew the view from the window with the buildings and cars below. She even drew a colorful version of the supermarket they went to buy food. "I'm going to draw us doing something together," she announced, picking up a new sheet. "What kind of thing?" "I don't know yet. How about we cook something real?" Noah laughed. "Cook what?" "Pancakes. I've always wanted to eat pancakes." "Pancakes? Yes, they look yummy." Noah had never made pancakes in his life, but how could he say no to that smile? "Okay, let's try to make pancakes." They went to the kitchen, and Noah looked up a recipe on his phone. It seemed simple enough. Flour, eggs, milk, sugar, baking powder. What could go wrong? Everything, apparently. "Are you sure you're supposed to put that much flour?" Lena asked, watching Noah pour what seemed like half the bag into a bowl. "The recipe says 2 cups. That looks like more than 2 cups. It must be right." Noah cracked the eggs and added the milk. But when he started to stir, the batter got a strange consistency. Too thick, full of lumps, nothing like the pancakes he had seen in movies. "Wasn't it supposed to be smoother?" Lena asked. "So maybe it needs more milk." He added more milk, stirred more forcefully. The batter improved a little, but it was still far from ideal. A little of the mixture splattered out of the bowl, hitting his white shirt. Lena giggled. "You're getting all messy, Uncle Noah." "It's the flour." "It's harder than it looks. It looks like you're fighting the pancake." Noah looked at her with that mischievous smile, and on an impulse dipped his finger in the batter and wiped it on Lena's nose. "Now you're messy too." Lena shrieked in surprise and then started laughing. "So you got me dirty? You laughed at me first, but you're the one making the mess." She grabbed a handful of leftover flour from the counter and threw it towards Noah. The flour flew everywhere, covering the floor, the counter, and both of them. "Lena!" Noah pretended to be angry, but he was laughing. It was an accident. She was laughing so hard she could barely speak. An accident, huh? Noah grabbed a little more flour and threw it back. Soon they were both in a flour war in the middle of the kitchen, laughing like crazy. The kitchen turned into a complete mess. Flour everywhere, batter dripping from the counter, utensils scattered on the floor. It looked like a flour bomb had exploded there, but Noah didn't care. On the contrary, for the first time in years, perhaps decades, he was truly laughing. Not a polite business meeting smile or a social laugh at some fancy event. It was a genuine, spontaneous laugh that came from deep in his chest and rose to his eyes. "Uncle Noah," Lena said, trying to stop laughing and wiping flour from her face. "I don't think we're going to eat pancakes today." Noah looked around the ruined kitchen, looked at Lena covered in flour from head to toe, looked at himself in the same state, and started laughing again. "I think you're right." "The batter turned into glue," she said, stirring what was left in the bowl with her finger. "Totally. Can we try again tomorrow?" "We can. But maybe it's better to watch a video first." "What about today?" "Today, we can order pizza again. Pizza with flour for dessert." Noah laughed even harder. "Pizza with flour for dessert." While waiting for the pizza to arrive, they cleaned the kitchen together. Lena couldn't reach much from her chair, but she insisted on helping, picking up utensils from the floor, wiping flour from the table, organizing things within her reach. "Sorry for the mess, Uncle Noah." "I started it by throwing flour at you," he said. "And it was fun." "It was. You're not mad." "Why, because of the mess?" "Yes. You have such a beautiful and organized home." "Lena, look at me." She stopped cleaning and looked. "This house only became truly beautiful after you arrived. Before, it was just an empty place where I slept." "Really?" "Really. And a messy kitchen because we were having fun is much better than a clean, empty kitchen." Lena smiled, that smile that was becoming the most precious thing in the world to Noah. When the pizza arrived, they had a picnic on the living room floor, surrounded by Lena's drawings spread out on the coffee table. "Uncle Noah." "Yes?" "Had you forgotten how to laugh?" The question surprised him with its depth. "I think so." "Why?" Because when you grow up, sometimes you forget that laughing is important. More important than working. Much more important than working." "Then why did you forget?" Noah thought about the question. Why indeed? When had he stopped laughing? When had he decided that joy was a waste of time? I guess because I thought having things was more important than being happy. And now? Now I know I was wrong. Lena nodded, as if that made perfect sense to her. "It's like drawing. If you don't use your colored pencils, they're useless." The analogy was perfect. Noah smiled. "Fair, exactly like drawing. So tomorrow we use more colors? Tomorrow we use all the colors." When Lena went to sleep, Noah stayed in the living room, looking at the drawings scattered on the table. Each one told a small story, her life before, her life now. The moments she considered important enough to record on paper, and in almost all the recent drawings, he was there. Tall, clumsy in the childlike strokes, but present, important enough to be included in her art. Noah realized that something fundamental had changed in him. A week ago, his biggest concern was the numbers on his computer screen, the meetings, the profits, the company's growth. Today, his biggest concern was whether Lena was happy, whether she felt safe, whether she knew she would never be abandoned again. For the first time in his life, he was genuinely caring about someone other than himself, and far from being a burden, it was liberating. It was as if a part of him that had been dormant for years had awakened, the part that knew how to laugh, how to play, that knew there were things infinitely more important than money and professional success. Noah looked towards the sofa where Lena was sleeping, breathing peacefully under the blanket he had bought especially for her. She had carried an enormous amount of pain for such a small child. Abandonment, rejection, months of loneliness and fear. But somehow, extraordinarily, she had not lost the ability to laugh, to find joy in simple things, to trust again. And she was teaching him to do the same. Laughing, for Noah, became possible again. More than possible, it was becoming necessary. Because for the first time in a long time, he had something worth smiling for. Someone who made every day better simply by existing. Someone who had transformed his empty house into a true home. Noah spent the morning on the phone with different agencies, explaining his situation concisely. He needed someone to care for Lena while he worked. Someone experienced, patient, who knew how to deal with special needs children. The fifth call was the right one. "We have the perfect professional for you," the woman from the agency said. Margaret Collins, 52 years old, 20 years of experience with children, specialization in special needs care. She's available to start today. Today? If necessary? Yes. She can be there in 2 hours. Noah looked at Lena, who was at the living room table drawing a family of colorful cats. He had cancelled 3 important meetings last week to be with her, and his secretary was starting to ask questions he didn't know how to answer. "Send her over." Margaret arrived promptly at 2 in the afternoon. She was a woman of medium height, grey hair pulled back in a simple bun, and a genuine smile that immediately put Noah at ease. She wore practical but neat clothes and carried a small bag that probably contained everything an experienced nanny might need. "Mr. Vance," she said, extending her hand. "I'm Margaret Collins. Noah. Nice to meet you. And this must be Lena." Margaret knelt to be at Lena's eye level. Lena had stopped drawing to observe the visitor. "Hi, Lena. I'm Margaret." "Hi," Lena replied shyly, looking from Margaret to Noah. "May I see your drawings? They look very beautiful." Lena hesitated for a moment, then pushed the sketchbook towards Margaret. "This one is Uncle Noah making breakfast." "Wow, that's lovely. You draw very well. And is this tall person really Uncle Noah?" "Yes, he's very tall," Margaret laughed, and Lena smiled back. Noah noticed the tension in the girl's shoulders easing. "Can I speak with you for a minute, Mr. Noah?" Margaret asked. They moved away to the kitchen, leaving Lena with her drawings. "The agency told me the basic situation," Margaret said quietly. 5-year-old child in a wheelchair. You recently took her in." "That's right. May I ask how long she's been with you?" 1 week, Margaret nodded. "She seems well adjusted. Do you have an established routine?" "More or less. She wakes up. We have breakfast together. She draws or plays while I work. We have lunch. She rests. We have dinner. And at night, we talk. Sometimes we watch something on TV. She sleeps on the couch." "On the couch?" Noah realized how that sounded. "It's temporary. I'm still getting things organized." Margaret observed him for a moment, as if evaluating something. "Noah, may I be direct with you?" "Of course. This child doesn't seem to be here temporarily. She seems to be home." The observation caught him off guard. "What do you mean?" "The way she talks about you, Uncle Noah, with genuine affection. The way she moves around the apartment, as if she knows every corner. The way you look at her. This isn't a temporary situation." Noah was quiet, processing her words. "I'm not judging," Margaret continued. "On the contrary, it's beautiful to see. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page about what's happening here. I'm still figuring it all out. I understand. Well, my job is to take care of her while you work, to maintain your routine, ensure she feels safe and cared for." "Exactly." They returned to the living room, where Lena had started a new drawing. "Lena," Noah said, crouching beside her chair, "Margaret will stay here with you while I work, okay? Will you come back?" The question hit Noah in the chest. Even after a week, she was still afraid of being abandoned. "I'll come back. I always come back. Promise. I promise." Lena nodded, satisfied. "Okay then." Noah kissed the top of her head, a gesture that had become natural without him realizing it, and went to his office in the second bedroom. During the next few hours, he managed to focus on work in a way he hadn't been able to for days. He knew Lena was being well cared for, and that reassured him. He could hear laughter coming from the living room now and then, which made him smile involuntarily. Margaret was truly good at what she did. She played with Lena, helped with new drawings, asked questions that stimulated the girl's imagination. When Noah appeared in the living room for water or just to check on them, he saw the two talking animatedly. Uncle Noah works a lot, he heard Lena saying. Does he, and what does he do at work? Margaret asked. Noah stopped at the kitchen doorway, curious to hear the answer. He stays on the computer talking to people, and he has a lot of papers on his desk. Must be important work. It must be. He always looks very serious when he's working. Noah went back to the office, once smiling. That's how Lena saw his work. Computer, papers, seriousness. At the end of the afternoon, Margaret said goodbye, promising to return the next day. Lena waved from the window as she got into the taxi. Did you like Margaret? Noah asked. I did. She's nice. And she doesn't keep asking a lot of questions about my chair. What kind of questions? You know, like, were you born like this? Or does it hurt? Or can you walk? Margaret just treated the chair like it was normal. Because it is normal. For you, it's normal. Yes, but not everyone understands that. Noah nodded, making a mental note to talk to Margaret about it. It was obvious she had passed Lena's test with flying colors. During dinner, Lena was more talkative than usual. Margaret had stimulated her curiosity about various things, and she wanted to share everything with Noah. Uncle Noah, yes, what do you do at work? The question was simple, but it caught Noah off guard. How to explain to a 5-year-old what he did? I deal with numbers, contracts, and decisions. Numbers? Yes, like I help companies decide how to spend money to make more money. Oh, Lena thought about it for a moment. And contracts, they are papers that say what people will do and how much they will get paid for it. And decisions. I help choose between different options, like whether a company should buy a new machine or renovate the one they already have. Lena nodded, as if processing all this information. You seem to be in charge of everything, she said with a smile. The innocent observation struck Noah like lightning. You seem to be in charge of everything. It was true. He was in charge of everything. His company had 43 employees who followed his decisions, clients who paid fortunes for his advice, investors who trusted him with millions of dollars. He was in charge of everything. But as he looked at Lena, smiling innocently as she ate her dinner, Noah realized something he had never thought of before. Being in charge of everything meant nothing if you had no one to share it with. Yes, he said slowly, I kind of am in charge of everything. That must be cool. Sometimes. Only sometimes. Noah stopped eating. How to explain to a child that power without purpose was empty, that being in charge of everything professionally didn't compensate for not having anyone waiting for you at home? Lena, can I ask you something? Of course. What do you think is more important? Being in charge of everything or having people who care about you? Lena thought seriously about the question, chewing slowly. Having people who care, she finally said. Because if you're in charge of everything but you're alone, it's not fun. The simplicity of the answer left him speechless. Her 5-year-old had summarized in one sentence what it took him years to understand. You're very smart. Margaret said children sometimes see things adults don't. Margaret is right. After dinner, while Lena drew and he washed the dishes, Noah thought about their conversation. For the first time, he was questioning the real value of what he had built. His company was worth millions. His apartment cost a fortune. His car was imported. His bank account had more zeros than most people could imagine. But a week ago, he was alone every night, eating takeout in front of his computer, working until he fell asleep from exhaustion. Now he had someone waiting for him to finish work, someone who smiled when he walked into the room, someone who had transformed his house into a home simply by being there. Uncle Noah, yes? Do you like your job? Another simple question that had no simple answer. I'm good at my job. But do you like it? Noah stopped washing the dishes. Did he like it? When was the last time he thought about work in terms of liking or not liking it? I guess I like being good at something. But do you like doing the thing? Do you like doing it? The distinction was subtle but important. Being good versus enjoying doing it. I don't know, he replied honestly. It's been a long time since I thought about it. Maybe you should think about it. Why? Because if you don't like doing it, it can't be much fun being in charge of everything. Noah smiled. Margaret was right. Children sometimes saw things adults didn't. You're right, I am. You are. Maybe I should think about what I really like to do. And what do you like? Noah looked at Lena, focused on her new drawing. What did he like? Lately, he liked preparing warm milk for her in the morning. He liked seeing her discover new things at the supermarket. He liked their simple conversations during dinner. He liked feeling needed in a way that had nothing to do with money or power. I like taking care of you, he said. Lena looked up from her drawing and smiled. I like it when you take care of me too. Then maybe I should do more of that. More how? I don't know yet, but maybe less of being in charge of everything and more of being a family. We're already a family. The simple statement moved him more than he expected. It's true, we already are. That night, after Lena fell asleep, Noah stayed awake thinking. Margaret had planted a seed of reflection that Lena had watered with her innocent questions. He was in charge of everything, but his life had been empty until a week ago. Now, he had someone who made him want to come home. Someone who transformed simple tasks into special moments. Someone who made him question what really mattered. Maybe it was time to rethink his priorities. Maybe being in charge of everything wasn't as important as he always thought. Noah woke up on Saturday with a plan. He had spent the week observing Lena sleeping on the couch, using his clothes as pajamas, keeping her few belongings in a shoebox next to the coffee table. Temporary had become permanent without any official conversation, and it was time to make things right. Margaret arrived early, as arranged the day before. Going out, she asked, seeing Noah with his car keys in hand. I'm going to sort out some things for Lena. Can you stay with her until I get back? Of course. We'll draw and maybe make those pancakes you couldn't make last week. Noah smiled. She'll love that. He kissed the top of Lena's head, who was concentrating on a new drawing, and left without explaining where he was going. He wanted it to be a surprise. The first stop was a children's furniture store. Noah had never been in a place like this, and was impressed by the variety of options. Beds shaped like castles, colorful desks, themed bookshelves. Can I help you? Asked a friendly saleswoman. I need to furnish a room for a 5-year-old girl. How lovely! Is she your daughter? The question caught him off guard. She lives with me. And does she have a preferred color? A favorite character? Noah realized he didn't know. He knew the important things about Lena, that she liked warm milk, that she drew when she was happy, that she was afraid of being abandoned, but he didn't know her favorite color. She likes cheerful colors, he said, remembering the lively drawings she made. Then maybe something like this. The saleswoman led him to a pink and purple set with yellow accents. The bed had a canopy, the desk was small and perfect for drawing, and the bookshelf had space for books and toys. It's perfect, and for delivery, today if possible. Today? It's important. The saleswoman looked at him with curiosity, but arranged the delivery for the afternoon. The second stop was a bookstore. Noah bought storybooks, coloring books, books with large pictures and simple texts. Then he went to a toy store and chose puzzles, dolls, modeling clay, more colored pencils. The last stop was the most important. The medical equipment store was in a mall on the other side of town. Noah had researched online during the week, comparing models and reading reviews, studying technical specifications as if it were an investment, which, in a way, it was. I'm looking for a wheelchair for a child, he told the salesman. What age? 5 years old. Manual or electric? Manual. She's active, likes to move around on her own. The salesman led him to a section with several options: heavy chairs, light chairs, sports chairs, basic chairs. This one is our bestseller for children, the salesman said, pointing to a light blue chair. Light, durable, easy to maneuver. Noah tested the weight, spun the wheels, checked the brakes. It was infinitely superior to the old, rusty chair Lena used. And this one? He asked, pointing to a pink chair with silver accents. That's top of the line. Ultralight, made with special materials. More expensive, but much more comfortable. How much more expensive? The salesman stated the price. It was more than many people earned in a month. I'll take that one. The pink one? The pink one. Back at the apartment, Noah found Margaret and Lena in the kitchen, both covered in flour but smiling. "We did it!" Lena shouted when she saw him. "We made real pancakes!" "Congratulations, how was it?" "Margaret knows the secret. You have to mix slowly and let the batter rest." Noah looked at Margaret, grateful. "Thank you." "It was fun. She's a special child." After Margaret left, Noah and Lena ate the pancakes they had made for lunch. They were delicious, and Lena was proud to have succeeded. "Uncle Noah." "Yes?" "Did you go out to work today?" "No, I went out to take care of some things." "What kind of things?" "Surprises." Lena's eyes widened. "What kind of surprises?" "If I tell you, it won't be a surprise anymore." In the afternoon, the delivery man arrived with the furniture. Noah asked Lena to stay in the living room while they assembled everything in the second bedroom. "What are they doing?" she asked, trying to listen to the noises. "Surprise," Noah repeated, smiling. It took 2 hours to assemble everything. A canopy bed, a desk at the right height, a colorful bookshelf, a soft rug. Noah arranged the books on the shelf, placed the toys strategically, spread the colored pencils on the desk. When he finished, he stood in the doorway, admiring the result. It was no longer an empty office. It was a child's room, a room full of life, color, possibilities. "Lena," he called. "Lena. Can you come here?" "Can I?" "You can." Lena rolled her chair to the hallway and stopped at the bedroom door. Her expression changed completely. Her eyes widened. Her mouth dropped open. Her hands went to her chest. "Wow, it's your room. Mine." "Yours." Lena entered slowly, as if she were in a museum and was afraid to touch anything. She looked at the bed, the desk, the books, the toys. "Is all this mine?" "All of it." She rolled to the desk and touched the new colored pencils. Then she went to the bookshelf and ran her finger over the books. Finally, she got close to the bed and touched the canopy fabric. "San, it's the most beautiful room I've ever seen. Do you like it?" "I love it." She turned to him with tears in her eyes. "But Uncle Noah, what's wrong?" "I have a surprise for you, too." Noah was curious. "What surprise?" "Wait here." Lena left the room and returned a few minutes later carrying a folded paper. "I made this for you today while you were out." Noah unfolded the paper. It was a drawing of the two of them, him and Lena, holding hands in front of a house. Below, in careful letters, was written, "My family. Lena. Do you like it?" "It's the most beautiful thing I've ever received." Lena smiled, wiping tears from her face. "Uncle Noah." "Yes." "Is there another surprise?" "There is." Noah left the room and returned, pushing the new wheelchair, pink with silver accents, shiny, perfect. Lena was speechless. "Is it for me?" "It's for you. But I already have a chair. Now you have two. One to use, one for backup." Lena looked from the old chair to the new one, then to Noah. "Can I try it?" "Of course." Noah helped her transfer to the new chair. It was much more comfortable, lighter, easier to maneuver. Lena tested the wheels, spun in circles, went to the hallway, and came back. "It's like flying." "Do you like it?" Lena stopped in front of him, and Noah saw that she was crying again. "Lena, what's wrong? Don't you like it?" "Is it just mine?" she asked, her voice thick with emotion. "Of course it's just yours. No one will borrow it. No one will say it's too expensive for me." The question broke Noah's heart. "Never. It's yours forever. Even if I do something wrong. Even if you do something wrong. Even if I'm trouble. Lena, look at me." She looked up. "You are never trouble. You are the best thing that ever happened in my life. Everything that is good for you now matters to me. Understand?" Lena nodded, still crying. "Uncle Noah." "Yes. Thank you for giving me a real home. Thank you for making this house a real home." They stood there hugging in the middle of the colorful room, with the new chair beside them and the "My Family" drawing still in Noah's hand. He didn't realize it at that moment, but something fundamental had changed inside him. It was no longer about giving things to Lena or caring for her out of compassion. It was about protecting, nurturing, putting her needs before his own. It was about waking up thinking about her well-being, about wanting to see her happy more than anything in the world. Noah had become a father in feeling, without realizing it, without a specific moment of decision. It had happened gradually, cell by cell, day by day, gesture by gesture. And now, seeing Lena happy in the room he had set up for her, using the chair he had chosen with her comfort in mind, he knew there was no turning back. He was a father, and she was his daughter, in all the ways that mattered. The days following the new room created a different routine. Lena now had her own space, but Noah realized that this changed the dynamic between them in ways he hadn't expected. During the day, while Margaret looked after her and he worked in the office, Lena spent hours in her new room, but not in the way he imagined. Instead of playing with toys or reading books, she made drawing after drawing, and all the drawings were about him. Noah working on the computer, Noah making breakfast, Noah reading the newspaper, Noah driving. It was as if she was documenting every moment they spent together, creating a gallery of memories on paper. "Margaret," he asked one afternoon, "is Lena okay? She seems different." "Different how?" "I don't know. Quieter. She spends a lot of time alone in her room." Margaret smiled with understanding. "Noah, she misses you." "Misses me? But I'm here." "You're in the office. For a child who spent months on the street, alone, having someone important in the house but not being able to see him can be distressing. But she has you. I'm a caregiver. Your family." The word family still had a strange impact on Noah. He was getting used to the idea, but sometimes it hit him by surprise. "What do you think I should do? Maybe work less, or include her more in your day?" That afternoon, Noah tried a different approach. Instead of staying locked in his office, he took his laptop to the living room table and worked from there. The difference was immediate. Lena appeared from her room with a new drawing, positioned herself at the small desk they had placed near the dining table, and began to draw where she could see him. Every now and then she would look up and ask, "Uncle Noah, what time do you stop working?" "1 more hour." 15 minutes later, "And now, how much longer?" 45 minutes. "Is that a long time?" Noah chuckled. "It's not a long time." But he realized that for her it was. Every minute he spent focused on the computer was a minute she didn't have his full attention. On Thursday, Margaret had to leave early. "I have a doctor's appointment," she explained. "Can you stay with Lena?" "Of course." When Margaret left, Noah closed his laptop for good. "How about we do something together?" "What kind of thing?" "I don't know." "What do you want to do?" Lena thought for a moment. "Can I teach you how to draw?" "You want to teach me how to draw?" "Yes. You always look at my drawings, but you never make any." "I don't know how to draw." "I'll teach you." Noah sat beside her at the living room table, with paper and colored pencils. Lena was taking the lesson very seriously. "First, you draw a circle for the head," she said, demonstrating on the paper. Noah tried to draw a circle. It came out crooked. "It's okay, Uncle Noah. Mine used to be crooked too at first." "When did you start drawing?" "I always drew, even when I didn't have colored pencils." "How?" "In the dirt, with my finger, or on a foggy window, or in my head." The image of Lena drawing in the dirt with her finger, or creating imaginary art in her head to distract herself during the months on the street, touched Noah deeply. "And now? What's it like to have real colored pencils?" "It's like the drawings in my head can come out and become real." Noah looked at the crooked circle he had drawn, and then at Lena's elaborate drawings scattered across the table. "I think you're an artist." "Really?" "Really, a true artist." Lena smiled and continued the drawing lesson. She taught with patience, corrected gently, praised every little bit of progress. It was one of the most relaxing afternoons Noah had had in months. On Friday night, it started to rain. Not a gentle summer rain, but a fierce storm, with lightning, thunder, and wind that made the windows rattle. Noah was finishing up some emails when he heard the first thunderclap. It was almost midnight, and Lena had been asleep for hours. The second thunderclap was louder, and Noah heard a sound coming from her room. He stopped typing to listen closer. Silence. He went back to work, but stayed alert. After a few minutes, he heard it again. It wasn't a sound, it was a muffled sob. Noah got up immediately and went to Lena's room. The door was ajar, and he could see the small figure in the bed curled up under the blanket. "Lena?" he called softly. The sob stopped, but she didn't answer. "May I come in?" "You can," came the tiny, trembling response. Noah entered and approached the bed. Lena was curled up, hugging one of the pillows, it with tears on her face. "What's wrong? Are you scared of the rain?" She nodded, unable to speak. "Do you want to talk about it?" "I don't like storms," she said between sobs. "On the street, when it rained, I got wet and cold, and the noise reminds me of when I was alone." Noah felt his heart clench. Of course she would be scared. Storms must have brought back terrible memories of the months she spent out in the open. "You're safe here," he said, sitting on the edge of the bed. "You won't get wet or cold." "I know, but when I hear the noise, I remember." "Remember what?" "Not having anywhere to go. Not having anyone to protect me." Another thunderclap echoed outside, and Lena curled up even tighter. "But you have someone to protect you now," Noah said gently. "You have me. Even when you're working. Even when I'm working. Even when I'm sleeping, always." Lena looked at him with big, frightened eyes. "Uncle Noah?" "Yes. Do you want to sleep with me tonight?" The question surprised him, but the answer came automatically. "I do. Really. Really." Noah helped her get comfortable, then lay down beside her on top of the comforter. Lena immediately snuggled against him, like a cub seeking protection. "That way you're close if I get scared again." "I'll be close." They lay there in silence for a few minutes, listening to the rain beat against the window. But now the sound no longer seemed frightening. It was almost comforting, as if it were a barrier between them and the outside world. "Uncle Noah." "Yes. Can I tell you a secret?" "You can. Sometimes I pretend you're my dad." The confession hit him like a lightning bolt. "Pretended?" "Yes. When I'm drawing, or when Margaret asks about my family, I imagine you're my real dad." "And what's it like, imagining that?" "It's good. It makes me feel normal. Normal. Like I'm a normal kid, with a normal dad living in a normal family." Noah was quiet, processing her words. Normal, she wanted to feel normal. "Lena." "Yes. You don't have to pretend." "I don't have to." "No, because I imagine that sometimes too." "Really? Really?" "I imagine you're my real daughter." Lena pulled back a little to look at him. "And what's it like, imagining that?" It's perfect." She smiled, even with her eyes still wet with tears. "So we can pretend together." "We can. Or maybe it's not pretending." Noah looked at her, at that little face that had become the most important thing in the world to him. Maybe it's not pretending at all. Another thunderclap sounded outside, but this time Lena wasn't startled. She was safe, protected, loved. "Uncle Noah." "Yes. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for letting me stay." They fell asleep like that, side by side, with the rain singing a song of protection outside. Noah had spent years building walls around his heart, creating a solitude that protected him from disappointments, losses, pain. This solitude had been his constant companion, his armor against the world. But now, with Lena sleeping by his side, trusting him completely, Noah realized that the solitude that once protected him no longer fit between them. There was no room for walls when you had someone who depended on you to be present, to be whole, to be available. Solitude had been replaced by something infinitely better, purpose, and Noah found that he didn't miss the protection solitude offered at all, because having someone to protect was much better than protecting himself alone. The call came on a Thursday morning, while Noah was preparing Lena's warm milk. The name that appeared on the screen made him stop stirring the pot. Richard Chen, CEO of the largest investment firm in Asia. "Hello?" "Noah, how are you, my friend?" "Richard, what a surprise." "I have a life-changing proposal for you. Can I speak?" Noah looked at Lena, who was at the table drawing while waiting for breakfast. She had woken up especially cheerful today, humming a song she had invented about happy families. "You can speak. We're expanding into the European and Asian markets. 18 months in Singapore to set everything up. Then Hong Kong and Tokyo. It's the opportunity of the decade, Noah." "Interesting. I'm talking about numbers that will multiply your net worth by 5, maybe 10. It's literally the chance of a lifetime." Noah almost let the milk boil over. 18 months away. Almost 2 years away from Lena. "And the deadline? I'd need you here next Monday. I know it's short notice, but opportunities like this don't wait." Noah felt something strange in his stomach. It wasn't excitement. It was panic. "Richard, can I give you an answer by tomorrow?" "Sure, but don't take too long. I have other names on the list, but you're my first choice. I'll call you tomorrow, without fail." When he hung up, his hands were trembling. Not from excitement, but from fear of losing what he had built with Lena. "Uncle Noah," Lena called. "The milk is making a strange noise." He quickly took the pot off the heat. "Sorry, little one, I got distracted." "Who was on the phone?" "Work. Important work." Noah poured the milk into her mug and sat beside her. "Very important. More important than breakfast with me." The question hit him hard. "No, Lena. Nothing in the world is more important than breakfast with you." Lena smiled and drank her milk, holding the mug with both hands. "It's warm, Uncle, just how I like it." Throughout the day, Noah couldn't concentrate. Margaret noticed he was restless, constantly looking towards the room where Lena was playing. "Is everything okay today?" she asked. "I received a job offer. Good news. Financially, it would be the best of my life. But it means traveling for a long time." Margaret looked at the room where Lena was humming softly. "What about Lena?" "Exactly. This child has already been abandoned once, Noah. How would she understand your departure? That's the only question that matters." During lunch, Lena was talkative, telling him about a book Margaret had read. "Uncle Noah, the story was about a father who traveled far away and took a long time to come back." Noah almost choked. "How did it end?" "The boy got very sad. He thought his dad didn't like him anymore." "And did the father come back?" "He came back, but the boy had already grown up and didn't remember how to play with his dad. They had to learn to be friends again." The story hit him hard. "Lena, if I had to travel far away for a long time, how would you feel?" Lena stopped eating and looked at him seriously. "Are you going to travel, Uncle Noah?" "I'm just asking. For how long?" "Maybe a year and a half." Lena was quiet, pushing food around on her plate. "That's a long time, longer than I've known you." "It's true. Uncle Noah, when I was on the street, I always imagined someone would show up and take me home. When you appeared, I thought it was a dream. And now I know it's not a dream, but sometimes I still worry I'll wake up and you'll be gone." Noah knelt beside her chair. "I will never disappear. Never. Even if it's very important work. Even if it's the most important work in the world. Promise?" "I promise." That night, Noah stayed in Lena's room, watching her sleep. She breathed peacefully, hugging the teddy bear they had bought together. The child who, months ago, slept in an old chair on the street now had a room full of love. "She's worth more than any amount." The words came out as a whisper in the dark room, and Noah realized it was the deepest truth he had ever felt. Richard was offering a fortune, but what was the point of having everything if he lost the only thing that gave meaning to his existence? The next morning, he called Richard even before breakfast. "So, good news. I'm going to decline, Richard." Complete silence. "Noah, are you sure? We're talking about an amount that will change your life." "My life has already changed." "What do you mean?" "I found something more valuable than any amount." "What could be more valuable?" Noah looked at Lena, drawing at the table. "The certainty that someone cares if I come home. The responsibility of being someone's entire world. Have you gone crazy?" "Maybe, but my priorities are in the right place for the first time." After he hung up, he felt lighter than ever. The decision was made. "Uncle Noah," Lena called. "You look different." Different how? More relaxed. Like when you truly smile. It's because I made an important decision. What decision? I decided that nothing is more important than being here with you. Lena dropped her pencil and hugged him tightly. I love you, Uncle Noah. It was the first time she had said those words. Noah felt his eyes fill with tears. I love you too, little one. More than you know. In the following weeks, something changed in how Noah viewed his life. Refusing the offer had been a turning point. For the first time, he put relationships above profits, and that opened a door in his mind. If I can change her life, he thought, watching Lena play, why not change others? The idea quickly took shape. Noah began researching organizations that worked with the homeless population, social projects, hunger relief initiatives. Uncle Noah, Lena said one afternoon, you're researching different things. How do you know? Because before, you were serious when you worked. And now sometimes you smile at the screen. I'm researching ways to help people. What kind? People who went through what you went through. Lena stopped drawing. People on the street. That's right. Why? Because if everyone who can help actually helps, fewer children will go through what you did. Can I help? How? I can make drawings for the children to make them feel less alone. The offer touched Noah deeply. Lena, who had suffered so much, wanted to use her talent to help other children. That would be wonderful. They would love your drawings. 3 months later, the project was taking shape. Noah had met with NGOs, bought a building, started renovations, and in parallel, he was dealing with another important project, Lena's official adoption. The papers had been filed months earlier, but the process was long. Interviews, home visits, assessments. Noah went through everything patiently, knowing that each step brought them closer to formalizing what was already real. The call from the social worker came on a Friday. Mr. Vance, I have wonderful news. The process has been approved. Lena is officially your daughter. Noah had to sit down. After months of waiting, it was finally official. Thank you very much. When he hung up, he stood there processing it. Lena was his daughter, legally, officially, forever. Uncle Noah. Lena appeared. Why are you just standing there? I just received the best news of my life. What news? The adoption was approved. Now you're truly my daughter. Lena was quiet. Then, a huge smile spread across her face. Truly, truly. Truly, truly. Forever. Forever. She rolled her chair over and threw herself into his arms. Now I have a real dad, and I have a real daughter. That night, Noah decided they needed to celebrate. He went to the supermarket and bought ingredients for cake, colorful balloons, chocolate truffles, nothing elaborate, but special. When he arrived, Lena was drawing something she was hiding from him. What are you making? Surprise, she said, covering the paper. Noah prepared everything with special care. He made a simple chocolate cake, slightly lopsided but delicious chocolate truffles, blew up colorful balloons, and put on soft music. The living room turned into a small but loving party. Lena, can you come? She appeared and her eyes sparkled. It's a party. A family party. To celebrate that we're officially father and daughter. Can I show you my surprise? You can. Lena unfolded the paper. It was a drawing of the two of them holding hands in front of the apartment. Below, in careful letters, my family forever. Noah felt his eyes fill with tears. It's the most beautiful drawing you've ever made. Do you really like it? It's perfect. They cut the cake, ate chocolate truffles, toasted with soda. It was simple, but Noah had never felt so happy. Dad, Lena suddenly said. Yes. It was the first time she had called him that. Can I tell you something? You can tell me anything. I always dreamed of having a dad, but in my dreams, he was never as nice as you. Noah had to stop eating because his throat was tight. Lena, can I tell you something too? You can. Before you, I only cared about numbers. How much money I had, how much I could earn, how many things I could buy. Lena nodded, paying full attention. You made me see people. You made me realize that people are infinitely more important than things. You made me want to be better. And now you are. Now I am because of you. Lena smiled that shy smile Noah loved. Now we're family. Noah looked at her, at that extraordinary girl who had completely transformed his life, who had taught him about love, purpose, generosity. With misty eyes, he said, "Now it's everything." And it was true. Lena wasn't just part of his life. She was the center around which everything revolved. She had transformed a lonely, profit-obsessed man into a devoted father and a person who used resources to make the world better. Generosity had become part of who he was, not just giving things, but giving attention, care, unconditional love. It had all started with a simple question. "May I have the crumbs, sir?" Now, looking at his officially adopted daughter eating cake amidst colorful balloons, Noah knew he had found the answer to all the important questions. The answer was love. The answer was family. The answer was being present for those who matter. The answer was everything Lena had brought into his life. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next ones. Leave a like because it helps this story get recommended to more people. See you in the next story.